Hi, everybody. This is Alan Fine. I'm here with Chef George Mendez. We're in his restaurant, Amar, and we're in the new Raffles in Boston. That's right, Boston. And this is Insider Travel Report. Okay, George, we're going to talk about Boston. We're going to talk about Raffles. And we're going to talk about food that you grew up with.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. This is the first Raffles in North America. How does the food here relate to Raffles, or doesn't it?
I mean, I think the food here relates to Raffles in terms of our standards of excellence and surprise and uniqueness, right? And giving the customer an experience, a memorable experience.
And does the location then reflect on the food? Now, this is a Portuguese restaurant.
This is a Portuguese restaurant.
Is anything coming from Portugal?
Yes, actually, a lot of our ingredients do come from Portugal. They're flown in at least once or twice a week from our suppliers. And it's the surrounding waters, the Atlantic Ocean. A lot of our seafood here from Maine and from Boston finds itself on the menu that's just superior quality.
So now you oversee all the dining here in Raffles, Boston. Let's talk about, there's 2 outlets now, going to be 3, maybe 5. Let me hear about that.
Right, so we primarily 3 outlets between Amar, the modern Portuguese restaurant, and then there's Long Bar, which is our New England-inspired breakfast, lunch, and dinner establishment. And then Cafe Pastel is a street-side cafe that will open very soon.
And as an entree into your way of preparing foods, I told you I was stunned when I just ordered a nice little turkey club and something jumped. I mean, I was like, oh my God, what is that flavor? Yeah. Tell us what you did.
It's a turkey club, but a little surprise and freshness through a green goddess dressing and the addition of some basil leaves.
Right. Yep. You're saying that as we order here, this is going to keep happening.
That's right. That's right. There's a little bit of surprises everywhere. Now,
let's talk about your baby, which we're sitting in now, Amar. So, Portuguese restaurant, but tell us more about how first of all, you're Portuguese and you grew up, and this is your comfort food. Let's talk about that.
Sure. So, my upbringing is to Portuguese immigrants. My folks came to the U.S. from Portugal in the late 60s, and I was surrounded by a lot of home cooking, a lot of rustic Portuguese dishes. That led to me becoming a chef and studying in New York and Spain, and then in Portugal, of course. And the food here at Amar represents flavors of my childhood, but through a modern lens. And it's inspired by and influenced by my travels. And so there's a lot of surprises and new flavors, and it's almost like a roller coaster ride. And there's no rules applied.
These are your comfort foods, just but embellished by your experiences.
Right. That's right.
So the first thing when you get here, you're very proud of your wine selection.
Yes. Our wines focus on mainland Portugal, but also the Azores. And then we have a fantastic selection from France, Spain, Italy, and, of course, the U.S. Yes.
And let's talk about the cart that we took a picture of. We want to show them.
The Portuguese and Madeira cart, which is a must-have. And you'll get the cart over your table and when you dine with us, and you can't leave without having some Madeira or port.
But it's very attractive. It makes you want to order.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's wonderful.
So let's dive into the menu. What do you want to showcase?
Yep. So it's a sourdough bread based on a 7-year fermentation starter that I brought with me from New York. That's served with extra virgin olive oil from Portugal, along with Animal Farm dairy, Vermont butter, and Portuguese sea salt.
And so, so for a guy who doesn't want carbs, this is going to make me want them.
Have carbs. You got to have carbs, absolutely. And then after that, I would definitely recommend the uni toast. It features sea urchin from nearby Maine. It's served on a rectangular toasted milk bread, which is like a brioche, with cauliflower puree and fresh grated wasabi. So there is a little Japanese influence to it. And then last but not least, on the petiscos is our Portuguese carabinero shrimp, which is grilled over a wood fire, and the sauce on the plate comes from crushing the shrimp head.
And you recommend we do that?
That's right. I highly recommend that the customer breaks into the shrimp head so they release all the juices.
Okay, so we have to do a little work here, but It's worth it.
Yeah, with a fork and a knife. Okay. Yes, it's definitely worth it. We won't let you down.
So then, moving on to the main dishes, what do you want them to know about?
The shellfish custard, which is a chawanmushi, it's a custard made with mussel broth with a little bit of dairy, with the addition of mussels, clams, and some foie gras for good measure.
By the way, all of these dishes that we just talked about, what made you think of them?
They are what I'm inspired by these days, and what's got my creative juices flowing. Myself and the team. Again, there's a big Portuguese influence, of course, and then the global touches like Japan and flavors from Mexico, for example. Yeah, those are the.
Sorry, I interrupted you. So we were just talking about the shellfish custard. Then what else?
The shellfish custard. Then I would have to have the main lobster. The lobster is grilled and is served with Azorean pineapple. So we bring in pineapples from the Azores that are grilled as well, and we make a sauce out of the lobster heads.
So the heads is a theme here.
It's a theme here. Get a lot of flavor in the shellfish heads. Okay. No, a Portuguese feature. A common theme is trying to extract as much flavor from the ingredients as we possibly can. That's our aim with the entire menu.
What else on your main menus?
The Rohan duck, it's a slowly grilled duck breast, and that's served with a rice flavored with chorizo and black olives. It's a take on a dish that I was doing in New York for many, many years, and that I've revisited and reinterpreted here in Boston for 2023. That's
it's a must-have. With the ducks from where?
The duck is from New York State, actually.
This was the dish you did in New York, and let's talk about that. So your restaurant in New York, tell us about that, and I think that's where Raffles found you.
Yes. So Aldea I had from 2009 up until 2020, right as the pandemic arrived, and it was my Portuguese restaurant in Union Square on 17th between 5th and 6th, and that was my launching pad for my career and the birth of my style of cooking. And it was throughout those years. And a version of the duck was on that menu, as well as a sea urchin toast, and as well as a version of shrimp and all other Portuguese delicacies.
So these are all new versions. So what did you rethink? What happened?
Just refining them, introducing them in a new way. I'm really about revisiting and not staying complacent, and we want to keep fresh and not boring.
All right, well, so we are going out to over 126,000 travel advisors. What's your message to them about Raffles, about you, about the restaurant, about Boston?
Sure. Come and visit Raffles, the first property in North America here in Boston, showcasing the freshest of seafood and meat and vegetables, and a wonderful oasis of creativity, of personalized service, and modern Portuguese cooking at Amar.
Thank you for talking to me.
Yeah, my pleasure.